Operation status quo. Operation status quo. Prepare to engage. Operation status quo. Ready to engage. Operation status quo. Engaged. Engaged. Hello. Oh, there we are. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome on a Saturday. It's Saturday. How you doing out there? You know, I'm normally not here on a Saturday, but of course I did miss yesterday due to circumstances beyond my control. So I wouldn't want to leave you guys hanging without an extra episode this week. So I said, you know what? I got some time here today on a Saturday to meet up with the beautiful people of the world out there. And believe it or not, that is you. You are the beautiful people of the world. And I'm glad to have you here with me on Operation Status Quo. I am Pete Palma, and this is Operation Status Quo, the place where we observe the status quo of life, where we learn to flow with the status quo of life. And then, of course, we create our own flow of quo, because that's the only way to go. So I hope you're doing what you have to do out there today to create your own flow of quo, and you're not getting too wrapped up in all the nonsense that's going on out in the world, ladies and gentlemen, because that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. And they want you to be upset and scared all the time. Believe me, just upset, scared, and spend your money. Upset, scared, and spend your money. That's the American dream, you know. I wouldn't actually. It's not the American dream. It's the dream of the powers that be, the cabal, whatever you want to call them. The people hiding in the shadows. The man with the smoking cigarette in the shadows that's planning everything step by step to destroy your happiness, you know. But hey, they don't have to do it. It doesn't have to happen is what I mean. You know, it's up to us to choose each and every day how we want to live, how we want to vibe, what we want to do. And that's what we talk about here on Operation Status Quo each and every time that we're here together in some form of another. It's hopefully the intention is for it always to relate back to just taking it light a little bit, you know, not letting the heaviness of the world get to us, and to remember how much power we have as individuals to choose the life that we want to have. We don't have to be subjected to the confines of the system that these people try to create to keep us, you know, penned in a sense, right? I know it's hard for everybody. I talk about this a lot of times. It's difficult for us to give up our conveniences of comfort and such. We're so used to the way we live each day. We're so used to the way the world flows, and it's hard to imagine sometimes it being a different way, right? But think about your own life. I mean, even within the confines of the system that we've been enslaved in for generations, even aside from that, I mean, think about how much your own life changes over the course of years, right? Things that you were doing at certain times that you do totally differently now. In the bigger picture, it's really all the same thing. And I would think the most important thing, like I always talk about to remember, is that the reason we see all this chaos in the world, the reason we see so much divide, so much contrast is the word I like to use, is because we are all souls on a journey here learning what our life is meant to teach. Everybody's at a different level, and Earth is a school, and plain and simple, I mean, that's basically plain and simple. Earth is a school, and there's classes in session all over the place in all different kinds of ways. So we just have to kind of go with it. And that's why it's up to us as individuals to put out the energy that we want to put out, right? And the more positive we believe and feel within ourselves, and the more positive we put out in the world, that's what goes into the ethers, as it were, and creates more. You know, you got to think about how you're treating the universe. I mean, quite honestly, right? When you I talk about the responsibility we have for our thoughts. I talk about the responsibility, the reverence we should have for the planet Earth and everything, just all that type of stuff, especially the responsibility for our thoughts and the space to be able to realize that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience, right? So the more you can really get in tune with that, it makes it a lot easier to deal with the day-to-day, because quite honestly, before I get into my topic, I'm just going to, because this thought just popped into my head. I was just thinking this today. I was watching one of the prepper people that I watch sometimes, you know, and him, and then there's like, you know, there's another person, there's a couple people, you know, and they're always talking about, you know, the prep and stuff, which is great. I'm not saying that it's bad in any way. Of course, it makes total sense to have, you know, food reserves, water reserves, energy reserves, whatever the case may be, you know, money, you know, whatever, guns and ammo, if that's what you're into, you know, all those type of things. So I understand all that, you know, but I was thinking to myself, like, you know, realistically, if the world, just went to shit tomorrow, like, how prepared, like, am I, right? And I think, well, I got a little this and I got a little that. And, then I started thinking, well, should I do this and should I do that? And I said, you know what? I'm stopping right here because I already know that I am, oh my goodness, what happened here is I hope my show is still going because my YouTube page is just reloading. So I don't know now if we're still live or not. Let me see. Uh-oh. Let's see here. Are we still here? Are we still here? Let me go on my phone. It looks like we're still here. All right. It popped back up. So my YouTube page, as I was talking here, just reloaded. So I don't know if we missed anything or not, but we are here, it looks like. So anyway, I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. My technology is a little kooky today. When I was trying to get my YouTube started, it kept freezing up and different things. So hopefully we make it through this episode with no problems. But anyway, I was just talking in regard to the prepper stuff. And just thinking to myself, if the world really went that way, and believing, of course, the way I believe that, we're spiritual entities having physical experience, it takes a lot of pressure off, right? I mean, ultimately, what are you going to do if nuclear bombs went off or some crazy madness happened? Are you going to stay stuck in your basement for the rest of your life? It's just not going to, you're going to like just shooting everybody that comes by. I really don't want that kind of pressure. You're going to be worried about when you're running out of food and you got to go out and get more. I don't want that kind of pressure. So, quite honestly, I'd be fine if I was one of the first casualties of a worldwide devastation and all the people who have bunkers and everything else. I mean, it's a crazy thought to me, even to like live that way, right? You have a bunker and you have, you got to have food storage and you're worried about the zombies coming. I mean, like, geez, who the hell wants to even live like that? What kind of world is this that we even are, thinking that way in certain regards? But again, this is the Earth School and there's all levels and people everybody's in touch with their physicality in different ways. So some people want to hang on to it a little more than others. Me personally, the physicality is nice. It's fun and everything, but we're really not missing anything. We're really not missing anything if we move on from this world. Actually, we gain a whole lot more. So anyway, part of my rant there in the intro, but today is the 16th of December in the good year 2023, and today's program is entitled DEI equals die. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, because we've heard this thing now. I got to make sure I say it right because I forget myself. This DEI crap, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, which really probably should stand for division enables insanity. That's like what I kind of think that it really does because, the interesting concept about it to me is that, of course, there's been and again, this is all done on purpose. So I'm just trying to say, like, this is all done from top-down structures that want to keep people divided. So it always kind of goes this way that we're always segregated into these groups. Years and years ago, it was slavery and all this other type of stuff. Today, it's different, but it's still really the same concept. And quite honestly, people are even more separated into even more groups than they were before. I remember growing up, it was just basically, it was white versus black. And then, like, you had the gays, but that was a little more quiet on the side, and that was basically it. And women, I guess, and women trying to get equal rights. So that's all I ever really kind of heard growing up. Now it's not just the the blacks and the Hispanics and we got the Asians. I mean, everything's broken into all these groups. Then not only just the gay, but now we got the whole LGBTQ, LMNOP, QRS, TUV. You know what I mean? You just can't split it up into any more. But what really kind of made me think about this today was the story that came out a couple days ago, I guess, with the Democratic mayor of Boston, Michelle Wu, who had put out for this party. I mean, basically, just to read it to you here quickly, she had shared a photo rather, on social media of the Electors of Color holiday party for government officials of ethnic minority backgrounds. And she says here, her quote was, "Last night, it was my turn to host the annual holiday dinner for Boston elected officials of color, a special moment to appreciate that our affinity group now includes leadership across state, across city, state, country, federal offices. That's what she put on Instagram. But unfortunately for Wu, that she made a little boo-boo. Wu made a boo-boo, okay? And I guess she had sent out the invite to not only the 6 people of color that she was supposed to, but actually all 13 members of the council, which included white people, which of course had to be retracted because we all know that white people are evil and horrible, and we can't like white people. We can't trust white people. Get those damn whites out of here, for God's sake, please. Hey-o. So, but this is what really just kind of made me think about it overall, is that, like, it's especially in this day and age, this is America, melting pot, and, as far as everyone's come with all this social injustice and such that's been talked about, that I, ad nauseum through, my whole lifetime, and to still be in a space where it's even more divided, right? I mean, like, what I'm saying is, why do you have to have a party for any particular group? I look at it this way, back in the day, women were fighting to get into men's clubs, blacks were fighting to get into white clubs, all this kind of stuff. Now it's like, forget about it. Now the whites aren't invited to anything. They're not even allowed to have their own party, probably, right? And it's gotten divided into, only this is an Asian party, this is a Native American Indian party, this is a Portuguese party. I don't know, just spin the wheel and pick something, right? It's just a Jewish party. It's just like, it makes no sense, because, and I don't mean this in a negative way. Like, I'm not making fun. I mean, I say this all the time. I love everybody. I think we're all equal. We all have different backgrounds, or we all have different ethnicities, religions, whatever, upbringings, everything. So, but at the ultimate core of it all, we are still part of one energy, the one source energy. And that's what I was saying here in the beginning about, this is the Earth School. We're here to learn, and all souls are in different places. So, I mean, I guess quite honestly, that's the ultimate, rationalization for anything that's going on in this world. I mean, if anything makes you feel how crazy our world is today, excuse me, if anything makes you feel how crazy our world is today, you basically you just try to take that space to remember that this, we're here to learn lessons. We're here to engage with different levels of consciousness and physicality, because that's what helps us grow, and everything comes into our life for a reason. But this whole push with this, I had never even heard of it, quite honestly, the DEI thing, until it was actually a week or 2 weeks ago. It was the first time I even heard of it, because somebody mentioned it on another show I was watching it, and said about DEI. If you don't know what it is, look it up. So I did look it up, and I'm thinking, man, I got this whole push for, it's just so over the top and ridiculous, again, because here we are. These powers that be constantly dividing us, pushing us apart, and they create more and more groups. And here's the thing about it too, like, I get it. I get that there's people that feel not represented, or feel that they've been, downtrodden, or, all that stuff. I get it, right? So, but instead of, like, bringing it back together, it gets more divided. And then on top of it, the people that are trying to fight for causes that they believe in, let's just say, like, let's just say even the transgender, right? I mean, there's people out there that are, that live that life, right? So, but they're fighting for their rights, but they're fighting for their rights within groups that are created by higher powers that be, that are purposely trying to keep groups separated to begin with. Think about when all these different groups come out and, want to have their own platform and such, and how much anger it brings up in other groups, and I just think to myself, like, just the idea of wanting to have your group already pisses off another group. I think we have to change, the thought process in general. We have to change the basis of how we're going, and forget about, like, trying to have this, however they're doing it, try to forget about how everybody has to have a voice and a parade and this day and that day and, all this kind of stuff. It shouldn't even be that way. We should feel insulted as a humanity. We should feel insulted as a society that we're put in a place where, we have to deal with each other in this way and tiptoe around all these different groups and advocates and such, and again, I think I said this one of the shows earlier this week. I mean, it was like, it was the Democratic Party that created the Ku Klux Klan. Then they want to start a whole thing about anti-racism. Like, they build it up, underneath behind the scenes, and then they want to come out and push for what everybody has to do to make everybody equal. But everybody would be equal if these people that control the means of everything weren't trying to keep everyone so divided. A group like Black Lives Matter or something is a good example. Like, of course, on its face, it sounds like a great thing, right? There are blacks that have been mistreated, and all this kind of stuff that goes on. So Black Lives Matter, we want to call attention to it and how treated with police, everything else, blah blah blah. But really, the BLM is a dissonant kind of funded group. Underhanded, funded, purposely. Like they take the people. I'm not saying everybody's bad. Like some people really believe in it, and I understand why. But the hierarchy of it, where it starts from, who's initiating it, who's funding it. They're the ones that are actually creating the division to begin with. And of course, you're going to get people that are going to, fight against each other. I mean, you come out and say Black Lives Matter, then somebody else comes out and says, well, all lives matter. Oh yeah, well, and then they want to fight about it. Like, no, we're not saying all lives don't matter, but we have to focus on the blacks. And and I'm not. Listen, I've said this a billion times. I don't see anything wrong with any individual. I don't see anything wrong with any way of life, whatever, except for like the evil Satan worshiping sons of bitches that are, trafficking children and all that crap that's going on, which will hopefully be exposed relatively soon so that we can get back to free markets and have be out of this debt-based system and live actually good, happy lives. But I don't know. I guess the thought process of today, ladies and gentlemen, is just think about how much diversity and all this is being pushed in such a, especially on it's so crazy. I can't get over it myself, how it's changed so much. I mean, especially with I hate to go right and left, but like, this left side of things is so, just everybody's just like pussified and just wants to cry and complain, instead of like, taking action and being like, the people on that side. And I've said this before too, even about with African Americans and affirmative action and things like that. Like if I was an African American, I'd be insulted to get a job just because you had to fill a slot, with a black guy. It's just like, I mean, that's insulting, right? That's how I see it. It's insulting, and to not be hired on the merits of your actual capabilities, but just being hired because of your color and such. I mean, that's exactly what happened with what's that woman. The woman who's what's her name? Gay. Her last name's Gay or whatever. The one with the Harvard and blah, blah, blah. And, and all this thing going on with the Palestinian and whatever protests at the colleges and such, and anti-Semitism and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like they put these people in positions just to give them a job. What value is she giving? Like why not say, why not really come out and say, listen, we're not going to tolerate any kind of inequality. We're not going to tolerate somebody being anti-Semite. We're not going to tolerate people being anti-Palestinian. We're not going to tolerate people being anti-black. No one should be anti-anything. And why is answer me in the comments, please. Why is anybody anti-anything? What is there to be anti about? What's the difference? People are people. There's good and bad in all race, colors, creeds. So, what's the difference? You find a jerk and a nice person in everyone. So, I mean, just be with the nice people. It's really just about being with like-minded people. It has nothing to do with this whole I really think all this separation and all this, it's an easy way. It's an easy way for somebody to grab onto something. Oh, I'm this, or, whatever label it is. I'm a this, or I'm a that. And, I can't get an equal shake because I'm a this or I'm a that. I don't know. I mean, I'm a short, bald guy. Well, I guess I'm average height, but, I'm not 6 foot. I'll say that. I'm bald, for God's sake. I'm wearing glasses. I mean, you think my life is easy, for God's sake? You watch this show. Do you think my life is easy, ladies and gentlemen? For goodness sake. Ah! Oh, my goodness. Hey-o. So, but anyway, that's basically what I was saying today. I really think this push for, the more and more we push for this recognition of diversity in a way, it really just pushes people apart, where people get tired of it. Nobody wants to hear this shit. Like, people just want to live and be and do nice, and everyone has their culture. And I think we should all, like, listen, if I was an Asian person and I was going to have a Christmas party at my house and I wanted to do an Asian theme, so why not do an Asian theme? This is how we celebrate Christmas in China or Japan or wherever you're from, this is how we celebrate Christmas in Africa. Well, I guess I do Kwanzaa, I don't know, whatever, but whatever you celebrate and whatever you do, you can bring those things in. It's like, oh, this is unique. We're going to so-and-so's house and they're doing the party this way because to show some of the culture. Why not just, utilize the beauty of the different cultures in different situations, instead of having to have it so, oh, we got to shove it down everybody's throat and put it in everybody's face. And if you don't agree, you're a jerk. I mean, just the idea of, like, this woman, Wu over here in Boston, at this level, you're a mayor, you're running Boston. It's like a big city. Anybody ever hear of Boston? It's a pretty big city. You're running this kind of city, and you're looking to have a party with just a certain people because they're of color. And I just don't get it. It's just a weird thing to me. I just think, if you work for the city, it's a city council party. Everybody should on the city council is included. It reminds me of a job that I worked one time. And it was a warehouse job, but the company had two different Christmas parties. It had a Christmas party for the office people and a Christmas party for the warehouse people. And I always thought, like, why? That's like ridiculous. And I was working in the warehouse, of course, but at the same time, I thought, this is like ridiculous. Like, why would you like have two separate parties? Like, this is all one company, one unit. Like, we should all celebrate together. Why can't the office people and the warehouse people be together? And maybe they learn something about each other. They don't see each other all day. These people are in the warehouse, these people are inside the office, but they deal with each other. The salespeople deal with the warehouse people. So maybe we have a conversation, get to know each other a little bit. I thought that was like one of the most horrible things. It's almost like saying, you warehouse people, I mean, we want to give you a Christmas party and all, but you're kind of like just blue collar, rough around the edges a little bit. We don't want to have you mixing with the salespeople who are obviously the upper crust. We're going to go to a much nicer place for them, but we'll take you guys to a buffet. So, anyway, they were generous. Don't get me wrong with their treatment of both sides, but at the same time, just the idea of having two separate parties absolutely made no sense to me. It's one company have a party, and it's the same thing. We're one humanity. Let's have a party all together. We don't need to be like, oh, the Chinese have to be here, and the Palestinians have to be here, and the blacks have to be here, and the whites have to be here. I mean, that's crazy, right? Especially how we're growing. We really, people, come on, just be with me here at the end, and let me just say, don't we really by now, after all these years, I mean, I'm 50 years old, I know there's people younger, people older, whatever, but all these years, all the history, everything we've been through in this world, are you really telling me we're in a space that we have to like keep, separating everybody? We have to like freaking tickle everybody's ass to make them feel good. Like, we don't have the power. We don't have like the wherewithal within ourselves, the emotional, spiritual strength to understand, to be able to celebrate who we are as individuals and still be together as one community. No, instead they create this whole thing, this whole, propaganda nonsense, DEI, whatever. And, and all it does is create more groups, more separation, more fighting, more anger, just something else for people to be pissed about during the holidays. So anyway, that's my thoughts today. Let me know what you think out there. I can't take it. As far as, listen, I put up with the political nonsense and opinions and, wars and all this kind of thing that goes on, at the behest of, this evil that wants to, just keep us under control. I mean, that's basically, but on top of it, then our day-to-day lives and humanity, they want to separate us there too, which is really the best course of action of all. If you want to control a population, right? You separate them, and so they're splintered into so many groups. How can they ever get together to take out the people that are really doing the stuff to keep us down? So I just think it makes sense. It makes sense to stop worrying about all that. Just be respectful and kind. That's all we have to do. It's very simple. There's no we have to prove anything or anything. It's just be respectful and kind to your fellow man and woman and transgender and anything else that may be in between. Just be respectful and kind. There's no reason to, I talk about this all the time. There's no reason to, if you don't get along with a person or they're not on your wavelength, it doesn't mean they're your enemy and you have to prove anything. It's just, you move in a different direction. Everybody's here to learn their lessons. Let them, do. If somebody wants to be a big mouth or rude or, whatever, angry, wants to live an angry life, they have to live that angry life. They have to carry that with them through every day. So let them go be angry and you just step away from it and you go live and be happy. And that's what we need to do here. Each of us just live a happy life. That's what we talk about here on Operation Status Quo, just observing what's going on in the world. We have to flow with what's going on out there in the world because there's stuff going on out there in the world. And then, we have the choice to create what we want to put our attention to and everything else. Like I said, I didn't even until a couple of weeks ago, I didn't even know what this freaking DEI was. And it's a big to-do, to push all this. I see it even in my day job, like the emails they send about reminders of, inclusiveness and this and that. It's like, listen, man, if everybody just did their part, like what's this inclusiveness and this and this? Oh, let me just do, hey little bambino, are you feeling okay right now? You know what I mean? It's just too much. Just freaking, step up. You have the power within you. I know I don't have to tell you because you're here on Operation Status Quo, so but these are messages you can share to other people. It's like, listen, we don't want to, nobody has to cry and complain. We all have bad days. We vent. We have our moments that aren't the best, whatever the case may be. But ultimately, it's all up to us, each and every one of us, to choose individually what we want to do with our life, to empower ourselves, to make choices, to align our energy with frequencies that bring us up and not go down into the pits of the negative. So that's what they want. They want us to be in the pits of the negative. That's why they create these wars. That's why they create the economic turmoil. That's why you don't get a fair education. That's why we got DEI. You know what I mean? Because it's all about keeping us separate from each other. But I want you to know here on Operation Status Quo, there is no such thing as separation, because imagine me and you, I do. I think about you day and night. It's only right to think about the audience you love and hold them tight. So happy together. Hey-o. And that's what we do here on Operation Status Quo. So I'm happy to be here with you on a Saturday. I hope you're having a great weekend. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, share, send this out to your friends, your family, those you love, and of course, those you despise as well. As you know, I love each and every one of you out there individually as well as a group. God bless you. Until Monday, ladies and gentlemen, Operation Status Quo, disengaged.